Hey guys, it's Katie again. Thank you so much for coming along. Okay, so this is my piece of graffiti, which you can see here I've done on some lovely grey paper. So I decided to showcase some graffiti techniques by using different patterns and different colours on the different letters. So you might want to use the same patterns or colours on each letter, but I just wanted to show you there's so many different things that you can do with graffiti techniques. So these are done with pencils and you're going to be using pencils today. Okay, let me put this to one side. Now hopefully you guys have got Katie's graffiti techniques. Okay, so I'm very excited about this. I hope you guys are too. I know some of you guys haven't had a lesson with me before, so hi to you. And we're going to be covering some of the techniques that we did in the last lesson, so don't worry, you're going to be able to catch up. Okay, woo. Here we go. Step number one. We first need to choose our letters. So with graffiti, we're going to be making our names. So you're going to think about what kind of shapes and sizes you're going to be using for your letters. Do you want to work with capital letters, or maybe you want to use small letters? Do you want your letters to be big and bouncy and curvy, or straight edges and geometric looking? So these are all of the kind of things that I want you guys to think about. And if you have a look on the computer, Mrs. Zuniga will be able to show you some more examples, the examples that we've already looked at in our videos, so you can get a bit of inspiration from them. So also, for your name, have a look at the handout which I've sent you, which have got letters on, and try to write your own letters using them for inspiration. There's no right way or wrong way, so just experiment and have fun, okay? So, I've got an example for you. We've got the letter I here, which you can see on your sheet. Now, I've done lots of different types of I's, even just for one letter. And I is a really simple letter, isn't it? So you can see there's so many different examples. So if you want, you can colour these in for fun when you are practicing, if you like. Okay, so if we pop onto our next sheet. Oh, this is when it gets really exciting. Okay, so we need some dimension. You know, I was mentioning earlier on the other video about how these letters seem to have this kind of 3D effect, and it's kind of crazy, and you think, how do I make them look 3D? See, like with these letters here on my name, they kind of look like they're sort of popping out of the page. And this is all to do with these black shadows that are behind them. So I'm going to use a little technique which I've got. Let me just grab, here we go. Let me just grab a pencil. Okay, so I've got it on here. So for those of you who are confident with drawing, we're going to try a 3D effect. So let's start with the famous cube drawing. We're going to use the same idea for our letters. It's all about making it 3D. So we're going to start off with the square. So you can see with me on here, I'm just going to go, okay, I'm going to draw a big square like this. Now you can do this with a ruler if you like, but just to save a bit of time, I'm going to do it just freehand. So there's our cube. So that's our first step. Okay, so the next step, you can see I've got these extra lines. And what we're going to do is we're going to go from each corner, and we're going to use the same angle for each line. Okay, so if you come over here, Duncan, so I'm going to start in this corner, the top left, and I'm just going to go whoop, and it's roughly the same distance as each side of the square. So I'm going to do the next one, roughly the same angle. And again, it might be a bit tricky when you begin, but you'll get used to it. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. So we're going to do another line, and it's the same angle going down. And then we're going to do another line, and this is going to be going down too. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to take all of these points and we are going to join them together like this. Okay, so mine aren't quite perfect because I've done this quite quickly for you. You can see they're a little bit long, so rather than making a cube, I've kind of made a long rectangle. But you can see there how that works. And then if I were to just shade in one side like this, woo, just really, really quickly, it's really, really rough. you can see it starts to sort of build up a bit more dimension, and it starts to look even more like a rectangle, like it's a solid rectangle, like that. So this is our kind of basic principle for how we develop our letters. So really simple, you're going to go from the corners, you're going to go from the edges, and then you're going to create a line coming out down on an angle. So if we go back to our worksheet, you can see here, now let's apply it to some letters. We're going to try some bubbly letters, and we're going to try some more angular letters and see how that works. You must pick an angle to the left and then join the lines up, just like the cube, and then you colour it in. So if you have a look here on our L shape, now I've chosen a letter that's got very sort of straight edges and angles, so it's quite easy, this one. And you can see at the top here, I've just done the same thing. I've just drawn a little line that's about the same length as this at the top, drawn the line down, and then I've got the corner of the L and I've drawn that down too. And then I've taken this edge here, this corner, and I've drawn that down too. And then what I've done is join them up. And I've joined this one up. And then you can shade this in as well in a minute. You can see if we shade this in like this, really quickly. Sorry, it's a bit rough. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. And the bottom side. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Oh, it's so exciting. Here we go, nearly there. Okay, it's not very tidy, but you get the idea. Then you go, oh wow, if we look back at my original graffiti, you can see on my name, you can see this is what I've done. Okay, so if we do a smaller angle, you see this one comes out quite a bit, but if we do a smaller angle here and bring the line straight down, you create a smaller, you see here it says this is thin. You create a smaller shadow so it looks like the letter isn't quite so deep. Okay? And then when you've got bubbly letters, this is when it gets a little bit tricky, but you will get used to it. And I'm going to talk you through it in a minute. So you can see here what we're going to do is on the R, you're going to roughly, just as a curve, you're going to bring that angle round like that. And then you're going to bring it under the R. And then you're going to create the same thing under here like this. And this is when it gets really, really cool with bubbly writing. So you're just going to colour that in quickly. Okay. I'm going to do the bottom one. Like I say, I'm doing this really, really quick, so you can take time once the video's finished and you can actually sort of have a look a bit more. Now this is the cool bit, it's in here. And when you've got letters that have got holes in them like this is the bit it's easy to forget, but it really makes a big difference to the letter popping out of the page. Doesn't that look cool? All right, so what I've got for you next is a little practice sheet here, and it's the same letters, so you can see how I've done it. So we're going to run through that really, really quickly. So if you make a mistake, like I've said here, don't worry about it. You can just rub it out. This is what's cool about doing the graffiti. It takes a little while to get it right. So don't worry if you make a mistake. So we're going to do the same thing, just like the cube here. We're going to take the line down. From the corner, line down. From this corner, line down. And then we're just going to simply join them up. That's not so hard, is it? Really? And there you go. Wow, really, really cool. Okay, let's do the same with the V. So remember this one, it was a much more of a sharp angle. It's a thinner angle, so we're going to go straight down like that. Make it a bit shorter as well this time. And then we're going to take it down like that. And then we're going to take it down like that. We're going to bring it down, join them up, and then we're going to join this one up too. So again, you can take your time, just colouring these in as you go along. So these are really good little practice ideas. So the R is the tricky one, right? So you're going to go from this line here, we're going to kind of follow it, and then I'm going to do this really slowly. We're just going to come out, I'm going to try and keep this distance here the same as we follow the R down. Like that. And then as it comes round at the bottom, the line's going to all of a sudden disappear. And then we're going to imagine that the line's going to drop down here. And again, really slowly, we're just going to join up with the line here. There we go. Now this is a bit tricky at the top as well. This is going to come round like that. Like it's following it around. You can see this shape here, big curve of the R on the top. And you're going to follow that curve round. And you can see when you draw it in, when you colour it in, it makes a lot more sense. Like it looks a bit strange without the colour. There you go. Like I say, don't worry if you don't get it right first time. It takes a bit of practice. Even just in black and white, it looks really, really cool. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add some colours in a minute. And that's just crazy. It's going to be brilliant. You are going to love it. So there you go. You can carry on shading those in. Not bad, eh? Are you with me? Are you following me? Are you excited? Whoa! I'm excited. Okay, right. So I've got some slightly more complicated letters for you. So I've said here are some more examples showing how it's done. So watch out, the curvy letters can be tricky. So I'm going to show you again with these slightly more complicated letters how we're going to do it. And I've given you some instructions. You're going to follow the line just like we did with the R a second ago. You're going to follow the line around from this point. So we're going to start from here where the arrow shows. So all you're going to do is keep the same distance apart the whole time. So we're going to drop down, and then we're going to come around like this. I'm going to follow it round. You see I'm kind of keeping it the same distance. And then at the bottom, you're going to follow it round and then join back again. Okay, if we give that a quick colour in. Oh yeah, it's coming. Now, these little letters I've actually done in black pen, and you can also use maybe a black felt tip pen, which is really, really cool, and it makes it stand out much more. So then we're going to follow this one round. So it's the same distance. You can see I've got the same distance here, the same sort of thickness as I've got on this side. And then on this one, ooh, it's like I'm just following the same line round. It's just the same. So you can see that these two here, this area and this area are almost identical. And that already looks like it's popping off the page. Okay, so with the G, I've got a little arrow and saying start here. So you're just going to follow it round like that. And it's the same thing. You're just going to have the same distance going all the way around the G. Like that. Round it goes, and then, oh, we got a little bit that pops out. And that's it, and then it's going to disappear as it goes around the corner. Okay. That's really, really cool. And then, just to make it look a bit more 3D, what we're going to do is we're going to do the top bit as well. And there's a little sneaky bit of a curve here. So if you just bring that out like that, and colour that in, bring that around a little bit more actually. There we go. It looks like the whole thing's coming out. Okay, so the F, the last tricky one. Okay, so if we imagine, even though it's curved, we're going to imagine that angle comes down, and you can imagine the corner of the F, it comes down there, and there, and there, and there. But we're going to draw it and we're going to curve it round, just like the shape of the F is curved. But those lines to begin with are really good because they kind of keep you in place. Okay, and then it's underneath, the shadows there. And then you can see the shadows under there as well, just following the line of the F. Okay, we're nearly there. Okay, should make that a bit thicker. You know, I'm not really correcting these very tiny little mistakes as I go along. because this is just rough. But if you think, oh no, I didn't get that right, it wasn't quite perfect, or it just doesn't quite look right, just rub it out. Just rub it out and try it again. And it'll get much, much better and much easier. There you go. Cool. How do they look? What do you think? Do you reckon you guys can do that? I think you're going to be able to do it, no problem. Okay. So step 3. Now we've got to colour it in, because that's when it gets really exciting, isn't it? And that's when it's like, whoa, really, really cool. We've got hundreds of patterns and colours. Look, we've got all these different types of combinations that we could use. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of different combinations. So here are some ideas for inspiration, but remember, this is about you. 15 minutes. And what do you like, and what do you think would represent you well? So we're first going to try a shading exercise with graduated colours. So when I say graduated, it means just that the colours which go through the rainbow and they mix together. So I'm going to show you how to mix these colours. So these colours are very popular with graffiti artists. So this will be the first time for some of you trying shading with pencils, but I promise you will get the hang of it. And you just got to keep trying, and you've got to keep experimenting with your pencils. Okay, so let me find my next sheet. We've got, oh, it's so exciting. I love this next bit. Okay, so we've got a really simple letter here, and what we're going to do is a 2-colour mix. So very basically, we're going to go from green to lemon yellow. That's it. So I've got my colours over here. Let me just pop these sheets on here. I've got these, excuse me, Duncan. I've got these pencils here. So these are from the Crayola pack. And you can see on here, I've put the names of the colours. So I've got lemon yellow at the top. I've got yellow green. I've got green. And I've got pine green. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the bottom. We just pop these on my lap, the other one, so I've got them ready. Okay, so I've got here, I've done the shadow for you on this one, so you don't have to worry about that. That's all ready to go. We're just going to concentrate on the colours. So the pine green, what we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom and we're going to shade it in quite strong to start with. Okay. So even though I say this is a 2-colour mix, we're going to use different shades of these colours. We're going to do, 2 types, in fact, 3 types of green. And even the colour yellow-green sounds like it's a mix of the 2, and that's what it really is. We're adding green to the yellow. Okay, so it's quite strong. Now you guys, you've got a bit more time than me, so you can really go to town on applying a bit more pressure. You can remember our last lesson, I was talking about holding the pencil nearer to the top, and what you can do is apply a bit more pressure like that. And then what you can see is it makes the colour look thicker, it makes the colour look darker. The more pressure you apply, the less of the white of the paper shows through. So here you go, you can see that's quite dark at the bottom. And I'm going to follow that line round, and you can really afford to be quite strong with your colours. I'm not being very soft and very delicate. I'm really going for it on this. There we go, because it's a big letter, so it doesn't matter if you're a bit messy. So there we go. So I'm going to do this bit a little bit softer. In fact, I'm going to come back out a little bit like that. Okay. Okay, cool. So that's our pine green colour. And then we're going to take green. So this is the next colour up. So it's a slightly lighter green, which at the moment, when you look at it, you think actually it kind of almost looks the same. It's a very subtle difference in colour. So we're going to work up the letter with the green like this. And again, you can take a bit more time than me. I reckon yours will end up looking better than mine because I'm doing this very quickly. Okay, so that's our green. And you can see I'm on the side of the pencil like this. I'm not very close to the nib because what I want is to have some of that white of the paper shining through, because I'm going to go over that in a minute with the yellow-green colour. Okay. You still with me? You with me, guys? Ooh, here we go. Okay, next one. We've got yellow-green. Okay, here's our yellow-green. And we're going to follow this. Well, we're going to start from the bottom. And we're just going to roughly just do the whole thing. Whoa. Okay. So we're really covering the other colours. And this is how we blend. It's about mixing. That's what blend means. It means to mix. So we're blending those colours in like that. And then as we come to the top, I'm just going to do it very soft, really soft. Now it may look like I'm still going crazy, but I'm actually applying very little pressure. I'm not pressing on the pencil very hard. Okay. Because what I want to do is I want to blend that last yellow colour really well with this. Okay. Ooh, it's starting to look nice. Now this is the really exciting bit. I love this because yellow is a magic colour for me. And what it does is it helps to blend all the other colours. So I'm just going to get my yellow. Here we go. I'm going to start at the top. Now this is when you can afford to press quite hard. Whee, this is super cool. Okay, so like on many of the pictures that I showed you, there is this change of colour. And you can see this letter really looks like it started in green. And then as it comes up, it becomes more and more yellow. Now you can see with this yellow, it's absolutely brilliant because as I shade over the other colours, it brings this kind of just an energy, it's an excitement into the colour. The whole letter is like, wow, it really, really stands out. Here we go. So these are graffiti artists, they use really expensive spray paints, really, really like, wow, crazy colours. But you know, you can still get a really, really good effect with these pencils. I think the graffiti artists will be very impressed with what you can do with a pack of pencils. There we go. Cool. Okay. What do we think? Do you think you can do it? Are you gonna do it? Whee, come on, brilliant. Okay, so this is really the most kind of basic thing that we can do. And you can imagine if you did a whole word, if you did your whole name like that, it would look absolutely fantastic. As you can see there, if you tag it on, this is going to work it really, really well. And you can use any different colours. So you could go, you know, I'm going to go from purple to pink, or you could go from blue to green, or you could go from red to orange, or red, orange, yellow. You can pick any of these combinations. So finally, what I've got for you is one of my most favourite things to do. And I thought, oh, I really hope these guys will enjoy this. So we're going to do a rainbow. As you can see here on my E letter, I used a rainbow. And this is really easy. It's really, really cool to do and really, really good fun to do. So this is what we're going to do for our last exercise.
I don't think we're going to have the time on this card.
Oh, so. Okay, right. You know what? Let's do a quick pause and